Death by Dynasty is back, a whole new look here. Tyler,
Let's go, baby.
myself, Dan, but now we got a producer who's going to be really helping us stay on track here. Jake is on with us, and you'll see more of him. We're going to be talking some Super Bowl prop bets for you to bet on this Sunday. All three of us will probably be watching the Super Bowl together, so hopefully we win some money together. But first, Tyler and I are going to get into talking about some playoff performances this year, but also use it to talk about a bigger picture about how to evaluate playoff performances for Dynasty fantasy football. I mean, you look at, I'm trying to think of guys, okay, like a guy like CJ Stroud, a guy like Jordan Love, who kind of came onto the scene this year, had
Bro, you're
great
taking my
playoff
notes.
performances. That just popped into my mind. I don't even have notes. I'm off the cuff. But all right, so talk about them.
Well, no, like we were talking about like watching the playoffs, top playoff performers. I tried to write down some from each position, and literally the first two I wrote was Jordan Love, CJ Stroud. And what I will say about how you're watching them as far as fantasy goes, I think Jordan Love had the biggest rise at that point because I feel like at some points he was almost like people were giving up on him, and then all of a sudden people thought he was the truth after beating the Cowboys. So I'm not as high. I think we're chill a little bit on him. I think he still could be good, but I think chill on the playoff reactions. That's the thing. The moral of the story that you're gonna hear throughout this from me is that never get too high or never get too low based on a playoff performance. But you could take advantage of it in trades.
I do think that Jordan Love might be slightly overvalued right now, but
Right now,
honestly,
for
like,
sure. I'm trading him if I have him.
well, it depends what you're getting for him, but here's the deal. Not only did you see him perform well in the playoffs against the Cowboys, okay, the Cowboys, they're choke artists, so I mean that's to be expected at this point. But like you also saw him lead his team to the playoffs at a point where we never even thought midway through the season they were even going to make the playoffs. And Jordan Love and that young wide receiving core and a good
Yeah.
coaching staff is all going to build together with each other. I do think Jordan Love continues to improve. Is he going to look like how he looked in the playoff? Like he almost had a perfect passer rating. So that is not the true Jordan Love. He's not that good, but he is a he is borderline top 10. I put him in a number 10 somewhere around that dynasty quarterback.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say I'd probably have him. See, I need a list in front of me, but like
I
off
know.
cusp, just like going off like gut feeling and vibes. I'm putting
I
him
would
at
rather have
like,
him right now for dynasty than Dak Prescott. And we'll talk about Dak Prescott,
yeah,
but
yeah, no. Oh, I in a second I would too, just based off age alone. I'm
age,
doing that,
age, yeah, for
but
sure.
just off vibes, I'm throwing Jordan Love at like a 13.
All right, I like it just off the vibes. All
Vibes
right,
and
so
vibes alone.
I do want to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott, and we'll talk a little bit about some other positions too. But before we get to winning Jake some money here, but like okay, so Dak Prescott's the complete opposite. He looked awful in the playoffs this year. He looked awful in the playoffs last year. The dude's a good fantasy asset. Doesn't because fantasy doesn't matter. Playoffs don't matter. That's the point. He's a great regular season quarterback. He's a solid regular season quarterback. I'll say
Dak is
Dak's a
exactly
buy at this point.
Dak is exactly what you think he is and what we all knew he was. It's it don't this year did not change my mind about anything. He was QB1 for a while there, I think, QB2, but still like I know next year he'll probably be like QB7 and then he'll start getting older, maybe start lingering, maybe have one or two more, maybe one top 5 year for the rest of his career. I don't know, but yeah, Dak Prescott, he is what he is. You're probably not going to get great value for him at his age, so I just hold on to him. I'm holding on to him.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I think of a guy like Gabe Davis, uh, like 2 years ago, scoring 4 touchdowns against the Chiefs in one game, and his value skyrocketed. And his talent is there, but he's never going to be a wide receiver one on any team. So he's got a cap to his limit, but like people thought he was about to be a wide receiver one. And that's just not true. So you do have to tamper expectations. Basically, what you said, the playoffs is when they're on the biggest stage, they're on national television, all the eyes are on them. You can watch the full game from start to finish. There's no other game on TV. That's when all the eyes are on you. But the reality is that's not how understanding a fantasy football player works. You need to understand how they're going to perform over the course of 17 games. And that's the moral of the story.
I want to say that when you're looking at it, I just think of it from the eyes of a trade because everyone has eyes on everyone. So I think you always got to be looking at this is when everyone's going to be most likely to want to trade a player because they're going to be watching be very reactionary. It's very hard not to be reactionary. And if you can resist the urge to be reactionary, this is where the value lies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think of like this year, Nico Collins, but Nico Collins is a really good wide receiver. Again, it's like we won't really know until next season how good Nico Collins really is because I know he's really good, but I also know Tank Dell is really good. And I'm not really sure who's the true wide receiver one there. However, knowing that they have CJ Stroud as their quarterback, a guy who can kind of support good fantasy play, like two good fantasy wide receivers, it is pretty reassuring when you think of even in past years, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle type deal, something along those lines. Um, but like I don't know for sure what Nico Collins is.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Nico Collins, and I'm honestly 50-50 on how I feel about him because he was someone who I do think is a riser from the playoffs. He was a player. I feel like if you didn't have him on your fantasy team and you're not deep into fantasy, he's a guy who like a year-to-year fantasy player might not know much about. And next year he's gonna be the one that's hyped up. And I would be cautious, especially in redrafts. But in Dynasty, I feel like I'm still being
I mean,
cautious,
he's
but I
valuable. I want him on my
he's
roster.
a
I'm just
young
not.
guy. CJ Stroud, I think, is the truth, like you're saying. He's gonna get there, but there if I don't think he's a wide receiver one necessarily, or if he's a I think they can very well go out and if they want to compete, they're gonna go get an elite wide receiver, and then his value is gonna instantly drop a lot. But I don't know. I'm leaning towards I'm buying him, but there's some more reserve than I think I originally thought when his name came to mind.
Yeah, you could buy him and he could be true. He could be real. Or you could buy him and he's still a good thing to have on your team. It's just that what are you buying him at right now? Are you giving up a first plus, a mid first plus for him? Well, there's a wide receiver or two out there in this draft. If I have a top 5 draft pick, I'm not giving it up for Nico Collins. There's some really good assets out there. The wide receiver position in this upcoming draft is awesome.
Hell no, I'm not trading a top 5 pick for Nico Collins.
Obviously,
I
not one, not two, not three, but I'm, even 5, 6, something like that.
top 10 is questionable, I feel.
All right. I think
I
right
feel
now
like those
it's,
are
I
so
think a
valuable. You
low
get so
first is
much more
fair
than
value
Nico
for him right now.
Collins.
But there's a cautionary tale there for sure. All right.
So you
Anybody?
trade, what about Baker Mayfield right now? He's another riser. What do you feel about Baker?
That's a good one. Honestly, that's a good one too. Baker Mayfield had the best season of his career this year. I love Baker Mayfield. Don't get me wrong, but if this is his best season, I think this might be his peak. And maybe he has a season similar to this, but it's either similar or it goes back to this up and down Baker Mayfield. And like, is he the real deal? Is he a true starting quarterback in the NFL? I do think that he's gonna be a journeyman like Ryan Tannehill. That's what I kind of think of him. Although he might sign a contract for the Buccaneers this offseason. So
I was just gonna say I disagree that this is his highest value because he's about to get a contract and a nice one from the Bucks.
yeah, right
And
after he gets
when
that.
he's gonna get he's not fighting for his job anymore, which some may say maybe he's not as motivated, but you know Baker just as well as I do from like as far as like a fan standpoint or a
I know him a little
fantasy
bit more
football.
than that. I covered
but
him. I covered the Browns.
but yeah, so I know you like Baker.
I know.
So
That's part of the reason why I like him. Yeah.
and he's not gonna stop fighting just because he got a contract. So he's still gonna go out there and ball. And now he doesn't need to worry about getting cut. He can go out there, get confident. He's in the same offense again. I think he very well
He's
could
a
be
dog, by
better.
the way. He's a dog.
I think he could be getting better. And I'm buying. I'm buying.
All right.
Baker, I used to
I
not
know what
even be a
Tyler's
Baker
doing. Tyler
guy.
knows I want Baker Mayfield,
No,
and he's
you're
trying
not
to
getting
jack
him.
up his
You're not
value.
getting him. That's the thing. I used to not be a Baker guy, but I love
All
him.
right.
He's great.
All right. All right. We're getting some signals from our producer. I know he wants to win some money. I know you guys out there want to win some money too. So it's time to talk about the Super Bowl here. If we worked for one of the broadcasting stations, we wouldn't be able to say Super Bowl. We'd have to say like the big game or some bullshit like that. But Jake, Get your ass on here. All right, so let's hear
All
some,
right.
Jake.
All right. I think this is the most obvious. Opening kickoff returns for a touchdown.
No
No is
shot.
probably like minus a billion.
I don't care. I'm betting
Let's-
specifically a touchback, specifically not caught.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate to what's happening. Most kickoffs nowadays are touchbacks, or it could be a fair catch now, but most likely it's gonna be out of the end zone. So,
They're just gonna let it roll.
all right,
There's
what
no
else,
shot.
Jake?
They're scared as
What else?
shit.
All right. Total yards gained on the first play. Do we think it's over 3.5 or under 3.5?
I would say over 3.5 on the first offensive play.
That's what
I'm
I
going
would say.
over both teams. If it's the Niners, they're giving it to CMC. He's getting 4 or 5.
I was
If
gonna
it's the
say,
Chiefs, they're gonna do some crazy shit and get like 27 on the first play.
I don't
So
even see the Chiefs running the ball right away, but I see either of these teams could try to take a shot. First play of the game, try to take a shot. Why not? Or they both have two really good running backs.
all
They
right,
could
it's an
easily
over.
get
Next
4
one.
yards.
It's an over. Next one.
Who's going to have more receiving yards, Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk? One of them is
Brandon Ayuk.
I mean, we've been on Brandon Ayuk over Debo every day, so gotta stick with it.
Next one.
Yeah.
Next.
Fumbled
Another
the ball in
one.
the first half.
Fumble the ball in the first half. I'm going yes. Someone's gonna be nervous. Someone's not gonna be ready for the moment. They're putting the ball in the turf. They're gonna throw a Jalen Hurts out there.
Hey, Kadarius Toney
Purdy-
ain't seeing the field. Toney ain't seeing the field.
Brock Purdy's gonna get strip sacked. They're gonna try doing some crazy lateral play. There's gonna be a fumble in the first half. Lock that in.
I disagree. Next one.
Oh, you disagree at all, or just like
Not
in
in
the
the-
first half specifically?
I mean, it could happen, but I don't think it's gonna. I wouldn't bet on it in the first half. No, I'm saying no.
Reserved. I like that. Anytime touchdown score. I know McCaffrey and Kelsey are kind of the two.
Oh, I already
leaders
put
of this.
money on.
They're locks.
Yeah, they're absolute locks. I already
What do you
put
think,
money
Pacheco,
on Travis
Samuel,
Kelsey 2
Keenan?
times, Isaiah Pacheco 1 time.
I'd say Pacheco would be the next person I would pick for an anytime touchdown. And then after that, I would pick Ayuk.
All right. Now, guys, make sure to follow us on social media because I already gave this take. But I have the absolute just genius bet for the Super Bowl right now. And I'm going to say it the same way I did.
I don't even want to hear it.
No, all right, fine. He already knows. But anyways, all right, so here's what it is. We're talking about Super Bowl MVPs. We're talking about a quarterback, most likely. We're talking about the 3rd overall draft pick in the 2018 draft, the only quarterback from the 2018 draft to make the Super Bowl. We're talking Sam Darnold. Sprinkle some money on the Sam Darnold Super Bowl MVP, baby. If Brock Purdy gets injured and he goes in, those numbers are going to change like crazy.
Realistically, I would pick I would love to know the odds. Jake, do you have the odds in front of you?
For that, it's like 31.
Yeah, for Super Bowl MVP. Not for no. I don't. That's not happening. Stop.
Yeah, I do actually.
All right, I'm gonna say I don't even know if this is a long shot. You tell me. CMC for Super Bowl MVP. I only think it could be because he's not a quarterback, but I could see him going for like 3 touchdowns.
By the way, if you're betting in Vegas, FanDuel like ruins the odds. If you were betting in Vegas, you'd get way better odds. It's real annoying.
Where is he? Like, what's his rank of most
Number
likely?
3. He's the
Number
first
3.
player behind the 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
For MVP?
Yeah.
That's probably where I'm going.
Wait,
honestly.
so Pacheco is the 3rd player behind the 2 quarterbacks.
No.
But
no, CMC.
Oh, CMC. I was going to say, but the 49ers are favored. I was like, okay. Where's Pacheco on that list?
Is Pacheco 4 or 5?
Pacheco's not winning Super Bowl MVP. Stop.
Is he 4 or 5th in the ranking?
I mean, I guess you could see, my thing is Kelsey would not win the MVP. If Kelsey does good in this game, Patrick Mahomes also did good in this game, and he's winning the MVP.
Yeah, there's no way Pacheco's going to be the MVP. If Pacheco has a good game, so is the entire offense is going to have a good game.
But I think Pacheco has a better chance of winning MVP than Travis Kelsey. Not because of who I think is going to perform better, but if Travis Kelsey performs really well, they're not giving Travis Kelsey the MVP. They're giving Patrick Mahomes the MVP.
I don't know
What
if I
is
agree with that either because like Travis Kelce is the most popular player in the NFL probably right now, and they're gonna want to get all
Scripted.
those pictures with Taylor Swift. I don't see how you can say they would not give it to him over Isaiah Pacheco, who just runs like I don't even know like
Like a
a
demon.
animal.
Like a little angry motherfucker. Okay, they
Here's
do have
That'd be like giving it to
a
LeGarrette Blount in the Super Bowl when the Eagles won.
yeah. They do have the will a player propose on the field after the game, and I think and on some books there's one specifically for if Travis Kelce will propose to Taylor Swift. That's crazy. They've been dating for like 6 months.
there are a ton of
I like them. I
there
like
are
them.
a
Don't
ton
get
of
me
Taylor
wrong,
Swift
but
Super Bowl props. You want me to read off some of them?
sure.
Will Taylor Swift be shown on camera at least 6 times?
No.
Will she make it to the Super
In
Bowl?
between the game, in between the
Yeah,
start
I
of
was
the
gonna
game and
say,
the stop of it. Wait,
Yeah.
what's from the kickoff to the last play?
Yeah.
No.
yeah, I'm taking the under on that. But beforehand, they'll show her walking into the stadium, like during the start of the broadcast and stuff like that. But
They'll show her at most once a quarter. At
we don't
absolute
even know she's
most
gonna be
once a
there. We don't
quarter.
even. She'll be there. She'll be there.
That is one
Are
of
you
them.
kidding
Will
me?
she make it to kickoff after her Tokyo concert, which I guess is the date?
What are the odds? What are the odds?
Um, heavily favored, yes.
For what are they?
They don't have it specifically. They just have
Okay.
like margins.
I was gonna say
It's on like a different like
if the
four.
underdog is yes, I'm hammering it because she's definitely gonna be there.
Yeah,
Roger Goodell's gonna pay her to be there. Goddamn.
And I'll just say one more. Will Swift be shown holding the Lombardi Trophy?
That's
No.
insane. She can't hold
Hell
the
no.
Lombardi trophy, bro.
Hell no.
She can't
Hell
hold
no.
the Lombardi trophy.
I mean, honestly, if she does, I don't give a shit. But
Yeah.
like honestly, I don't care. But no, she's not going to. There would be such an uproar. So maybe actually, yeah, they'll do it for the uproar and all the media stuff. But honestly, I don't care.
All right, I like this one. Will any player be ejected for throwing a punch? Plus 700 for yes.
If the Niners lose, then yes, because
Yeah, they're down.
what's his
big
name?
in the
Milton
fourth quarter.
Williams. Is that his name? The dude who like gets in fights at the end of every game. I could just be making a name up, but there's someone on the D line who just gets in fights on the Niners.
Yeah.
Last funny one from me. Will the power go out at the Super Bowl? Yes is plus 1,600. Who's risking it all to fucking just shut off the power?
No, I mean it did happen once, but
I mean, yeah, that's why. I guess that's why it's a bet
Gonna
now.
blow
But
the roof off the place, make them have need to flip the fuse box.
maybe
all right,
Usher's
I mean that
performance will
shouldn't
go
count.
crazy.
That should not count.
Here's an interesting one: the color of the Gatorade bath. If I were to just tell you, like, what color do you think it is? I think in my mind, I would have been like, well, it's going to be red or yellow.
I
Well,
always go yellow.
The Chiefs were orange when they won a couple last year, I think.
Orange is plus 500, and it's fifth on this.
Nobody fucking knows.
Purple
Everyone
is-
always tries to figure it out.
I
People
was
thought
looking at
after Kobe
purple.
died, they thought it was going to be purple or whatever. I don't think it was.
Purple's the nastiest flavor of Gatorade too. That's why I'm a little surprised.
Damn,
Will there
sorry,
be a
Kobe.
touchdown from the 1 yard line?
Yeah, probably.
Kelsey brings the tush push back.
And I'm gonna say yeah, just because I feel like there'll be like a pass interference in the end zone.
All right. I have Pacheco as the first touchdown scorer. I already put money on it. I put as soon as the Chiefs won last 2 weeks ago, I put money on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I will never again bet against Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. This guy's an underdog. He is this generation. It literally is like the same generation, but he is the new Tom Brady.
You know, I agree, but I think the Niners are winning it. I want the Chiefs to win.
Have you
but I
been
think the
flip
Niners are
flopping?
gonna
Have you
win.
been flip flopping, or what? How'd you settle on that?
I honestly haven't been flip flopping. I started off immediate reaction was go to the Chiefs, and I was saying like I'm honestly I don't bet against Mahomes usually. I'm not one to do that, and I never do. But I just have a feeling no one's on the Chiefs. The line moved like 2 points instantly, or I mean the Niners, excuse me. The line moves 2 instantly. The Niners are a really good team. If they're putting it together, they're they're hard to stop offensively. They have a great defense. The Chiefs have some holes, but they're also at their peak hard to beat too. But I think the Chiefs are going to have to play a really good game, and I think the Niners are playing with a swagger that is that of a championship team. And I just have a feeling that the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl. By 2.5, I don't know. That's where it gets tough. I think I'm going Niners money line.
If it's 2.5, that's always close enough for me to really want to take that spread.
Dude, that's so close.
3.5, that's a different story. But
I
two,
don't
if
know.
I'm gonna bet, I
One,
know.
maybe 1.5, I'd be scared. I feel like the games are designed to be close. You know this is gonna be a classic.
I
It's a
mean,
rematch. Purdy's first Super Bowl.
this
Mahomes.
is a dumb, like ESPN stat, but they said that no head coach has ever lost in the rematch in the Super Bowl, like head coach versus head coach when they rematch each other in the Super Bowl. It's always been the first. Whoever wins the first time wins the second time, and that's only been 3 times. But
Interesting. Take it for what you will.
there's so
Take
many
it for what
random
you will.
stats out there like that could lean you one way or the other.
And that's what. But the thing is, they know the script writers know that people know that. So they know that's gonna sway your decision. So the script writers out there, they know what it is, and I got their book. I know what it is, and the Niners are winning money line.
If we're gonna be
Do not put
realistic,
any money on that. Please do not put money on that because of what I said.
if we're gonna be real, yeah, the disclaimer is like we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Um, but if we're gonna be realistic, like the Chiefs weren't helped that much last week. You know what I mean? Like just very little bit by the refs, but not really. The only one was that Lamar Jackson interception, which was an awful throw to begin with. There might have been a PI there.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is.
That
Just
was
play
the only
football.
one, though. That was the only one.
Just play football.
Just play football. All right, let's go through our. You already said you think the 49ers are going to win. I think the Chiefs are going to win. I do think it's going to be close. I like Pacheco a lot, though. He's now such a big part of their offense. I'm hammering his overs. Jake,
Yeah, and then
predictions.
wait before you go, Jake. I just want to say where everyone's gonna get. He's a person who I think is a big riser again, and he's just they preserve Pacheco till the end of the season, and then they unleash him, and then he just when every team's beat up, he just runs through them. So in fantasy wise, that's not ideal. I feel like they ease him into it so that he's healthy at the end, and then it's just impossible to tackle. So take that for what
And
you
by
will
the
next
way, it's
season.
very, very realistic to think that Pacheco will not be on the Chiefs in his next contract.
That's usually when running backs go to die.
Yeah. All right, Jake.
I guess I could see it going either way, but if I just had to guess based off how these last few games have looked, I'm probably sticking with the Chiefs. I think the 49ers just looked ugly against the Packers. Who did they play?
Lions.
The Lions. Yeah, that was a great. Once they got
The
the momentum,
Lions low key
they
gave
got
that game away.
exactly. That's what I mean. Like when they
Yeah,
were
but the
down,
Niners
they're
got their
down.
swagger back at the end
That's what
there.
I mean. When they're down, and then the Lions just let them. You can't give them an inch, and the Chiefs would not. I
I
hate to
mean,
be like the
Brock
Chiefs
Purdy
would not
proved
allow that,
he
but the
proved he
Chiefs
could
won't
come
allow
back in that game against the Lions. Don't get me wrong, but Brock Purdy also looked. Brock Purdy has not looked good for an entire game these playoffs. He looked in that divisional round. He kind of just looked bad all around. Snuck out the win. Last week he looked awful in the first half and amazing in the second half. And I don't know what we're getting out of Brock Purdy. I don't know.
I think Brock Purdy's just he's a good quarterback who he remains calm under pressure. He's made the most of big moments. But I think like it's some of that's outside of his control. Like the ball's just going his way so much this year. So I could very well see a drop off next year, but also like he very well could have a good season too. And I think he'll have a long career in the NFL, but it's gonna fluctuate in terms of how good he is. I could see
Yeah.
him being like a Kirk Cousins type
The
player
thing
who that would be great, honestly.
To
this is
think that Mr. Irrelevant has solidified himself as a starting quarter in the NFL is awesome. But now he's there. Now the expectations are different. And I don't put him on that pedestal of like top 5, borderline. I put him top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, I think you have to. I'd put him around 10. I'm putting, see, Jordan Love or Brock Purdy. I think I feel more confident in Brock Purdy because listen to me. This is going to be why I say it, because I think I'm putting him right ahead at like 11 because I think Brock Purdy he's going to be the Niners quarterback as long as they're good. And Brock Purdy, and they're going to be good for a while. So he's going to be their quarterback. He's going to have weapons. They're set up for a long time. CMC's not slowing down anytime soon. So he's locked into having good weapons around him, and he knows the system already. Jordan Love is not 100% proven yet.
Actually, it's really weird to think that Brock Purdy
or the Packers. I'm not huge on I think the Packers are a little bit of a media
Jordan Love. I like in my mind, I was like, well, Jordan Love's younger. Nope. Brock Purdy's younger than Jordan Love.
And Jordan Love, like, I think the Packers, they could be good. They very well, but I think they could have been like that, like New York Giants of last year, where they just had kind of like that miracle run a little bit, and they're not quite
but
as
the
good as
Packers
they
are
looked.
a good organization.
I do think they're better, and they are a better organization than the Giants. But what I will say, which is the real reason it's going to be tough, is that division is going to be tough next year. The Vikings are going to be a legit team. You got the Lions in there who are going to be a legit team. The Packers are a legit team.
The Vikings won't be that good, but yeah, they'll be.
But I mean, they got Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins out there playing football, and they got Jordan Addison. They're going to be.
They might have Kirk Cousins, but yeah,
they probably will. He wants to go back.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, that division's tough. I feel bad for Lions fans because if it's like, oh shit,
and the Bears might not be bad.
And the Bears might figure something out. The Bears might figure their life out.
They got the first pick.
Yeah, and they're trading Justin Fields 100%. They're trading Justin Fields. All right, well, go team. Go team. All right, we'll be having episodes out every single Friday. Mark your calendars. That's right. Putting the pressure on ourselves, baby. Let's go. Jake, any last words?
Every Friday is quite a bold statement, but giving me a lot to think about with some of these.
It's like Rick and Morty. They're like, episodes coming every week, we think, maybe.
Maybe, probably not. Maybe like once every 3 months. But we'll be back eventually.
It's the dynasty. It's like I told you guys, never give up. There's no off.
The dynasty's never dying.
Follow us at DBD Fantasy Football. Jake makes funny TikToks. Peace.